We're so excited to get started with the Big Ten. It's, um, that's, I mean, that's what you train all year for is to get going in this conference and play an Ohio State team. That's just really difficult to prepare for. A lot of teams, you know what you're going to get. They're fastballs down the middle. But when you play in Ohio State, it's a lot of curveballs coming at you, a lot of knuckleballs. You're not quite sure what you're going to get with them, and more times than not, it's met an incredible match in the past. We've had some epic battles with them, and I'm sure that'll be the same this year. And we're excited to get going.
Can one of you grab the microphone? Help Lauren. Thank you. Questions for Coach Sheffield?
How'd you play this past weekend, Kelly? You like where you're headed right now going into this?
Yeah, we played Marquette on Friday. It's really difficult because we come here and you ask a question about this past weekend, and which is a absolute legitimate question. But as coaches, you get in here and right after you play, right afterwards, you're watching film of your past weekend, and then you're moving into what is in front of you. And so that was what we played 48 hours ago, and so yesterday morning was spent breaking down and watching the film, and for the past 24 hours you're all the game in front of you. And that's probably what you'll see when you talk to Paul or whoever, is that they've already moved past the previous game. And so it seems like every time I get asked about this past weekend, half the time it takes me a while to get my head thinking about that. And actually, that's what this whole past minute has been, is just me buying myself time to think about what just happened. Marquette, I liked what we saw. We knew, it was more, I think, than double what their biggest crowd has ever been. So that we knew we were going to be playing a team that was going to be, incredibly hyped for that game. It's two teams that are hour and a half down the road. We knew, and against a really good team. It's the scores of those last two sets I don't think are indicative of how good I think Marquette is, especially offensively. I thought we weathered the storm really well at the beginning of that match. And then we finished the first set really strong. And that was something that we didn't do the previous week. That's, of being able to finish strong, to play clean. I thought, to end that first set on a 5-0 run, a couple blocks there, I thought we just played really well defensively. And then I thought we just, we kept playing clean throughout the match. I thought that was probably our best defensive effort of the year in that match up to that point. The following day, we played 11 o'clock in the morning. And so, when you have that kind of fast turnaround, you're really going up against an opponent that you're not giving your kids a whole lot of information. It's too tough of a turnaround to give a full scouting report. So you give them just, the bare essence of what you have. And on top of that, we went with a different lineup than what we traditionally go with. And so it wasn't a recipe for us to just play and clean necessarily. But what I really liked about that Saturday morning match is, when things weren't, we had players that just they didn't start the way that I'm sure that they would have wanted, but they kind of grinded, they stuck with it. And in many cases, players, either when they spent some time on the bench in the middle of the match or didn't start when they have been, they came back later on and played really well. And, I think that for a couple of them in their past, if they didn't start out real well, they weren't going to find a way to to get out of it and play well the latter part of the match. And we had quite a few players that did that. And I thought that's growth. And so that's what you're wanting is that, not necessarily that you're going to be playing. You're just not going to play great for 2 hours. The point is, can you recover if you start off slow, and can you find a way to play well later on? I thought there was a lot of instances where we did that. I thought, I thought Grace did that on Friday really well. I thought Madison did that really well on Saturday. Tiana came off the bench and played real well. I thought we got a real good play out of Danielle throughout the match. So those were some things that we felt pretty good about.
Now that non-conference play is wrapped up, what are some of the biggest areas that you want to see this team improve upon going into Big Ten play?
We've got to continue to get better defensively. I mean, I think that's an area that we've got to get a little bit better with. I'm not sure we passed the ball as well as what we needed to this past weekend, but probably the biggest thing is just being able to do a little bit better out of system. Our out-of-system attacking has got to get a little bit better, and our out-of-system setting. I thought we put our hitters into some tough situations with how we were setting this past weekend, and it's been better the first 3 weeks than what it was this past weekend. And I thought that showed with our hitting percentage. I don't think our hitting percentage with our left sides was as much to do with their attacking as it was with our everybody but Sydney stepping in there and putting them, giving them a hittable ball. I thought we set them over and over and over again, and that led for a lot of attacking errors that we shouldn't be having. So that's probably a big area that we've got to get better on this week.
Coach, when other teams maybe in the Big Ten play you guys, they might feel intimidated. What's kind of the feel for you guys when you hit conference play?
Did you ask if we're intimidated?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
when teams play you guys, they're probably a little intimidated. With your young squad, how do you guys feel hitting conference play?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if anybody's intimidated on our team. I think it's. I don't think that's how any of them are really wired. I think it's, this is a cerebral group. I think there is a lot of excitement to get going into Big Ten. I mean, there are days off, and I get a video from Molly and Grace last night that they're in their apartment and. Just being a little bit sassy and fun. But here, we're working on better platform with our passing. And I think, I don't know, I was watching film. It must have been probably 9:30 last night. And, it's they're excited about playing. They're, I think there's enthusiasm for what we can become, and with a drive and an understanding of what we've got to get better at. I mean, this isn't a group that you have to pump up, to make them believe in themselves. It's not something, they want to know where they're at and what they've got to get better at. And, I think they take about every opponent very similar. I think. I don't know. I would guess when I get in the gym today that it's going to be a group that's just going to be excited about the next phase that's in front of them. I don't think we took last weekend with the right approach, and we played better than what we did the previous weekend. I think there's probably an appreciation and understanding of what Ohio State can bring to the table, and I think they're excited about having those guys at home. So I would guess that's what we're going to see.
Fine.
And Ohio State came here last year and beat you guys too, so I'm sure that your players remember that, correct? Will that be a motivating factor for them? I don't think you have to bring it up. They obviously know.
Yeah. I don't know if it will be or not. I would maybe it's we won't talk about it. It's that was in the past. Whether that's coming off of a win or a loss, You know, they're just they are they're just a handful to prepare for. They've got so many different personnel that they're just moving in and out throughout the match, or they're starting from match to match. You know, I think this past weekend, I think that, you know, they played 3 matches, and I think they had one setter running a 5-1 one match, another setter running a 5-1 the next match, and then the third match, I think they were running a 6-2. And so, you know, different people that were taking a lot of swings in one match weren't playing at all another match. And, you know, that's not unique to how they go about things. And so it's you know, you try to figure out, all right, are you going to give your team a novel to understand all the different scenarios when you basically have 48 hours before you're playing them, you know, with this day off, and you're going Monday, Tuesday, and then you're playing Wednesday. And so, you know, our scouting reports to them actually are usually pulled back quite a bit when we're playing them, because you're just not wanting to overwhelm them. And certainly when you have a short week, you can't do it. I don't think last year is going to be the motivation. I think the opportunity of going 1-0 to start the Big Ten is probably how we're going to approach this.